Alrighty, so this one's gonna be a little bit spooky, a little bit freaking terrifying, and I apologize for that, but to kind of alleviate some of the inadvertent stress that's gonna happen as a result of that, let's go ahead and talk about fan art before we talk about the world being on fire, shall we? Here, let's go ahead and put it up right now. This one is from Gideon Wells, who I actually had the opportunity to meet over at MagFest recently and signed his Meteor Golem. Cinderone, thank you for redeeming your points for an ada, you fucking degen. But Gideon Wells says, dedicated today's drawing practice to the Chill Goblin stream. Oh, okay, so we have from the Chill Goblin stream I did with Chill Goblin, we have a Goblin Suris. That is fantastic. The next one we have is really freaking adorable. This is from Cricket, and it is a sticky note Suris. I really like this art style. It actually kind of reminds me of some like older MTV stuff. But yeah, no, that is fantastic. I love that. As always, thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. With that all said, though, if you haven't subscribed already, maybe consider doing so. And hell, if we're here anyway, then my Patreon is a place that you can go and support me at. This is not me saying, please, please, please give me money. I am saying that, but that's not what we're here for. We're here to talk about something important. So a friend of mine is actually working in the United States government and is currently doing a little bit of whistleblowing for me. So as emails come in, they are sending me the emails that are coming in from the federal government to show how fucked up things are getting in there. So here is one of them if we want to have a little bit of existential crisis together. Also, I already did Cinders. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and see what kind of a crisis we're looking at. This is from the HR department in an area that I will not disclose in the federal government. During the first week of his administration, President Trump issued a number of directives concerning the federal workforce. Among these directives, the president required that employees return to in-person work, restored accountability for employees who have policy-making authority, restored accountability for senior career executives, and reformed the federal hiring process to focus on merit, which basically means they don't want black people in the government. As a result of the above orders, the reform of the federal workforce will be significant. It will be built on 4 pillars. 1. Return to office. The substantial majority of federal employees who have been working remotely since COVID will be required to return to their physical offices 5 days a week. Going forward, we will also expect our physical offices to undergo meaningful consolidation and divestitures, potentially resulting in physical office relocations for a number of federal workers. So if you work in the federal government and you are, say, disabled, then fuck you. Working remotely? Fuck you. Despite the fact that all of this office work can be done just as well remotely, if not more efficiently remotely, than having to commute in the federal offices, fuck you. That's what that reads to me. Then we have the performance culture. Don't you always love when you see this one from a CEO, when they decide that it's time to focus on performance, everybody, as if everybody wasn't already doing their damnedest so that they don't lose their jobs? The federal workforce should be comprised of the best America has to offer. We will insist on excellence at every level. Our performance standards will be updated to reward and promote those that exceed expectations and address in a fair and open way those who do not meet the high standards which the taxpayers of this country have a right to demand. So this is corporate speak for we are no longer running the government like the United States government. We are now running this like a business. And businesses are notorious for running pretty fucking inefficiently because people don't want to actually work there. Have you ever seen somebody who wanted to be at their retail job or office job? I don't fucking think so. People who enjoy their workplace tend to work more efficiently. Anyway, continuing on, more streamlined and flexible workforce. Not the company will be more flexible for you, the workforce is going to have to become more flexible. While a few agencies and even branches of the military are likely to see increases in the size of their workforce, more on that in a second, everybody. The majority of federal agencies are likely to be downsized through restructurings, realignments, and reductions in force. These actions are likely to include the use of furloughs and reclassification to at-will status for a substantial number of federal employees. So for those who don't know, the at-will status for any employer is the idea that you are employed, well, at will, which means you can leave at any point, but that's just what it's kind of worded as. The reality is, a company can just fire you for whatever fucking reason. They can fire you for putting the toilet paper in wrong. That's what at-will status actually means. So, not only is the government going to be cutting away a lot of jobs from people, the scary part of here is not just the at-will status that makes it way harder for federal employees to be able to stick in their jobs and be safe. No, the super scary part of this is the fact that we are hypermilitarizing. That's the scary part to me. We're going to get rid of a bunch of government jobs, which are basically meant to be the infrastructure of the United States, and we are going to instead be ramping up our military. There are only a few times that you are desperately trying to cut every job possible from the government in order to add more military positions, and none of them are good. These are things that are typically done during eras of invasion, eras of needed extra defense. These are things that you do when you are leaning further and further into fascism. Germany actually did this as well, cutting away a lot of its government jobs and militarizing the government. We are watching the first pillar of that be built right now. As of right now, it's some of your jobs will be gone and will be given to military generals, but eventually it's going to end up becoming more and more jobs are just going to be military jobs. At some point, the commander-in-chief thing gets just put a little too far. Wingcaster says fascism, dictatorship, fascism, war, pre-war, fascism, dictatorship. Yeah, that's when you start heavily militarizing your society more than it has been, it's in preparation. That's not fucking good. Then we have number 4, enhanced standards of conduct. The federal workforce should be comprised of employees who are reliable, loyal. That's a spooky one. Let's just, loyal. It desperately wants the employees to be loyal. Which I know sounds like something that you would just want, right? You would want your employees to be loyal to the United States, but considering that Project 2025 very clearly lined out that several people in the government would be kicked out and replaced with Trump loyalists, well, here we are. So they want you to be loyal, trustworthy, and strive for excellence in your daily work. Employees will be subjected to enhanced standards of suitability and conduct. Employees who engage in unlawful behavior or other misconduct will be prioritized for appropriate investigation and discipline, including termination. Boy howdy, all of this sounds like a government that is trying to push more and more force onto its employees. This also does sound like a way to get rid of disabled people. If disabled people can't... So if you get rid of DEI incentives, which make it harder for people of ethnic backgrounds, people who are disabled, to be hired or to be protected at their jobs. When you start enhancing what is required at those jobs like this, those disabled people just get thrown to the fucking wolves. Each of the pillars outlined above will be pursued in accordance with applicable law, consistent with your agency's policies and to the extent permitted under relevant collective bargaining agreements. If you choose to remain in your current position, we thank you for your renewed focus on serving the American people to the best of your abilities, and look forward to working together as part of an improved federal workforce. At this time, we cannot give you a full assurance regarding the certainty of your position. Why the fuck would you ask for loyalty? I'm sorry, why in the fucking fuck would you ask for loyalty if you can't assure that I'm keeping my goddamn job? Why? Why the fuck should anybody be loyal to you? If you can't assure them that you're going to keep their job, you need to work as hard as humanly possible to maybe keep your job, but no assurances can be given from the top down. Fuck that. Fuck you. I wish I could endorse arson. We cannot give you full assurance regarding the certainty of your position or agency, but should your position be eliminated, you will be treated with dignity and afforded the protections in place for such positions. We'll fire you with dignity. That's what it says. If you lose your job, we fire you with dignity. So there is no fucking firing with dignity. When you lose your job, you lose your livelihood. There is no dignity there. If you choose not to continue in your current role in the federal workforce, we thank you for your service to your country, and you will be provided with a dignified, fair departure from the federal government, utilizing a deferred resignation program. This program begins effective January 28th and is available to all federal employees. Make sure that I'm in the right area here. It's available to all federal employees until February 6th. So they give you a week. You don't get any time to actually, like, say, hey, let me just feel out how the administration is. You get 1 week, and then you're fucked. If you resign under this program, you will retain all pay and benefits regardless of your workload and will be exempted from all applicable in-work requirements until September 30th, or earlier if you choose to accelerate your resignation for any reason. The details of the separation plan can be found below. Whichever path you choose, we thank you for your service to the United States of America. Wingcaster says, my brain hearing this with the fascist leanings sounds like this will be a hit list. Yeah. And then here's the deferred resignation letter here. You can screenshot here if you want to see where all this is going. So remember, all this is coming directly from the federal government. All of this is what federal employees are dealing with right now. They are dealing with this shit as of right now, which is absolutely terrifying. So what can we do about this? Because this is a lot. This is scary shit, and it is a lot. So what can we do? Well, the first thing we can do is we can make sure that the voices of federal whistleblowers are heard. That's the first thing I want you to do. If you have a friend that is working in this workforce and they divulge something to you that they want to get out there, find a way to get it out there anonymously for them. Make sure that their voices are heard. Make sure that the people who are willing to stick around in the federal government as things get worse and worse have an outlet. Make sure that they know that they can get their voices out there. If you are working in the federal government, then it's probably a time to get a lawyer. Caruso says, lawyers, it's time to call the fucking lawyers the deadliest goddamn weapon of all time. Yeah. If you hear that a protest is happening in regards to federal employees, figure out which side the protest is on. I wouldn't say just attend the protest, Wingcaster, but I definitely would say do a little bit of research into which side the protest is taking, and if it's one that aligns with your morals, then definitely go there. As of right now, federal employees who are, especially disabled federal employees, who are at risk of losing their Medicaid benefits, who are at risk of being kicked out of the United States government, we need to do everything in our power to make sure that those people can keep their jobs. So if you're watching this and you're a lawyer and you can make sure your services are available to these people, then it's definitely the time to. It's definitely time to. And as with everything, there is always the need... hold on. Anyways, apologies for pausing for a second. I had to go get pizza out of the oven, and if I didn't do that, then the world was going to, explode. That said, I do want to go ahead and close things out by saying that there are things we can do right now. If there are whistleblowers in your area that are trying to get their message across, do what you can to help amplify those messages. If you are in a position where you are able to get those messages given to people who are in charge of getting elected officials in power, then that could even be better. That would be a fantastic thing to do, actually. Making sure that people who are trying to get into the positions of power that are over people who are working in the federal government, making sure that those people know that they can do something to actually protect those people in the federal government who are disabled, who may be losing their jobs right now because they're considered DEI or some shit. Do what you can with what you have, and if you don't think you have enough, stop lying to yourself and start researching what you can do. Anyway, that's all for me on that one. Insert end of video tagline here. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I really could not do any of this without all of you. Those of you watching, and especially those of you who support me on Patreon. I wanted to go ahead and take a minute to thank all of you who do that, because with YouTube being what it is these days, I really cannot do this full time without the support from each and every one of you. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Tales of Atonement, Nixie Chan, Kiri Artemis, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. Thank you so very much. But since you're here, why not go ahead and try watching another one? There should be one that's on the screen right now. And if you are a patron of mine, I wanted to go ahead and thank you again for all of your support. There is still a video you could press though, if you'd like. I would appreciate it just a little bit.